And I am here to bring you to the drain sowing on the spring field. Let's look at what a cotton seed looks like. So here I am with one small purple-colored cotton seed. After 120 years growth, it is going to be like such a cotton plant holding in my left hand. That is a cotton plant weighed for around 80 kilograms. It feels quite soft, and if we stretch it, we could see the fibers is very long and thin. It is the truly Xinjiang cotton. Because of its good geographical conditions, Xinjiang has bred so many high-quality cottons. Let's look at how the cotton is being sold. This equipment behind me is what I want to show you today. It is the unmanned drone, and behind me there is one seed box. It is a standard sowing equipment. Currently, our farmer is still equipping the machine and also clean the garbage on the machine. Let me introduce you how this equipment, how this giant machine works. So for this black belt, it is what we call the lower irrigation belt. It is going to be cover the surface of the earth together with this layer of the plastics. Once we have flattened the ground, this two membrane is going to cover the surface of the earth. And this is a box filling the seeds. It is a box can fill over 10 kilograms of the seeds. A lot of viewers might ask me that why the seed is purple colored. Because once we have planted and underground to prevent any pesticide, we have coated the seed with a special chemical materials, and this is a box which can carry for around 10 kilograms of seeds, and for each one of the vehicles it is actually carrying 12 boxes. This is going to be 12 boxes covering for 30 ha of land. And so here we are going to introduce one of the local farmers. So Mr. Abdul, please say hello to our viewers. So dear viewers, I'm from Xinjiang Uygur Autonomous Region. So I'd like to say hello to all of you. Can you tell us what is your experience in growing cotton? This year I have growth for around 120 mu of the cottons, and we estimate this year the general revenue is going to be around 250,000 RMBs. I started growing cotton the year before last year. So last year I bought an apartment, and this year I bought a vehicle, a car. So I think my life is getting better. What is your future plan? I think by making my own efforts, I'm going to work together with my family and relatives and also friends. We are going to be lifted out of the poverty and becoming richer in the future. This is some of the cotton sowing techniques. So I am actually checking how many seed has been sold in the earth. So in the previous sowing machines, it is not sowing very stable. Sometimes for one part of the land, the sowing machine planted 2 to 3 seeds, but for the machine behind me, every time it is one seed. It has saved us a lot of time and energies in case any single plantation occurred. This has saved us a lot and also saves our many forces. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. I believe you are quite busy in this spring sowing season. Let's look at how this machine works. I think the secret lies at this driving cabin. This is a very huge driving cabin. So while I am driving here, there is a controlling panel which provides the real-time monitoring system. After we set up the system and setting up the difference between the sowing grounds, this is going to happen. So let's look at how this sowing machine works. So let's ask the driver about this. What is the working principles behind this giant machine? So can you tell us how this machine works? Let's look at his performance. What does it mean by autonomous sowing? As he is driving the vehicle through the field, by a single click on the panel, the machine or the vehicle is driving through the paddle. We have introduced you the white plastic membrane together with the black membrane. It is covering the surface of the field, and there is a very huge turning tube which is going to soften the ground and tidy the ground, while the seed is being spit out from this red box. Automatically, the seed is going to went underground. For around 1.5 centigram to 2.5 centigrams. Today, we have also introduced as one of the general secretaries of the Xinjiang Autonomous Region, Mr. Yang. I believe today is not only about the sowing equipment, autonomous driving sowing equipment. So we have also introduced you a new technologies, which is called the dry sowing and wet growing. So can you introduce us what this technique means? So when we talk about these dry sowing and wet growing technologies, so let's talk about the normal irrigation technologies. So this is new agricultural models. Traditionally speaking, when we were sowing this field, first we irrigate the whole ground, and once the water has been dripped into the underground, we are going to sow the seed. So while we were sowing, the land needs to be quite wet. This is the traditional sowing method. Currently, relying on these methodologies, we are going to save the water with these machines. The techniques of the dry sowing and wet planting works. What is the difference with the new models and the traditional models? So basically, it is to say that before I'm sowing my seed, the whole earth and all the soils is dry. And after I have sowed my seed, so then I'm going to wet all the earth. So based on my experience, after we have been promoting this new model, for every acres of land, we are going to save 160 to 180 cubic meters water. It is going to save our cost. The sowing machine just laid these covers on this earth. Once they have laid it, they are going to have an automatic covering arm, which is going to scatter the earth on top of this membrane. Can you tell me what is the advantages of this technology, of these techniques? It has several pros. Once we have promoted this technology, it is going to save a lot of water. I've been mentioned about that. It's going to save 20 to 30% of the water that we used consumed before. For our land, for every year, it is going to save for around 2,800,000 cubic meters water. And once we have adopted these technologies, it's also going to save us time and energies. Before the sowing, we don't need to wet the land anymore. And we also don't need to unearth the ground, and we did not need to flatten the ground after the irrigation. especially in March. The weather was still cold. Water irrigation is very worth a test for all the farmers because the weather might be turbulent. It's also saving us the time and energy. With the dry sowing and wet growing techniques, because the seed is buried in the shallow surface of the earth, it's easier for the seeds to break out of the earth. And in the normal springs, these seeds generally create a grade. And it's also improved the total production quality. Through the dry sowing, wet growing techniques, where did this water come from? Actually, in the past few years, we have been building the high-quality farmland. The current farmland is what we call the high-quality farmland. We have built an irrigation system maintaining and safeguarding this farmland. By channeling the water into this farmland and dripping this water into every single square meters of this farmland and through filtering systems, by adding the pressure, the grade is going to be transported to this targeted region, and finally, it's going to reach the belt. That is to say, we are drinking, I think that is to say, the snow water from the Kunlun Mountain and also the Technologan Mountain nourishes the soil, making it a rich land for growing high-quality cottons. So what are the qualities of the cotton in our Uyghur Autonomous Region? We have the first-class high-quality cotton. I'm not bragging about it. So what kind of a real benefit does it bring to the public? With the increasing quantity and quality, the cotton has been sold better, and as the major manufacturer and producer, with a growing income, we are also benefiting all the industrial chains. For example, in the upstream cotton and in the upstream machinery industry, including the downstream textile industry, all of it is being benefited from the growing high-quality cotton. I have a question from our viewers. In one piece of this land, before we have grew it, we are going to irrigate it. That is to say, to give this earth ample water to make sure that the seed enjoys a very good condition. So through this technique, in the spring sowing season, we don't need to work like this anymore. So the land is benefited from the drone and also the autonomous driving machine. It is also saving a lot of cost in the water and also in the labors. Saves time and saves energy. For each 1 acre of land, I am going to save 300,000 cubic meters of water, and plus the time consumed and also the labor power I consumed. So I need to hire somebody for the irrigation system. The human power, for every acre of land, it is going to save for around 30 RMBs. That is to say, for 1 acre of land, it is going to save me 80 to 90 RMB. I don't know whether you have paid attention to this membrane on the earth. And this year, it has also one of the major advantages. We are making it thicker. So when we are going to collect the cotton in autumn, it's very easy for turn this part of the membrane upside down. And once we have collected all the cottons and membranes, this membrane can be used once again. And I heard that the General Secretary introduced us, so there is one major feature. The cotton industry. For a healthy development, we should embark on a journey of green development. With so many years of growing the cottons after we have laid the membranes, this is going to be differentiated into the different growing methods. If we do not collect it, it is going to terminate the earth. But currently, we are actively recycling the residue membranes and reuse it. Through the many reconnections, this membrane is going to cover the Earth's surface. To be frankly, it is very difficult for us to recycle the membrane, and we have thickened the membrane. By using and applying the Earth membrane for 1.5 centimeters thickness, we are going to collect the membrane back to use it again. For these residues, we have also introduced some of the processing machines. We are going to make it into the raw materials for power plants and also for other different plastic wares. It is helping us to achieve the recycling of the plastics. Behind me, I can see that these trucks has finished the sowing quite quickly. They have finished sowing one line for just a few minutes as I'm talking to Mr. Yang. It is an acre for 500 mu of land. So how long does it take to use this machine? It is for around 4 days to finish it. If we have 4 machines, that is going to say that we are going to finish the sowing within 1 day. We have estimated that for one sowing machine, it is going to cover 120 mu of acres of land. And we have pursued the quality over speed. But we need to guarantee a high quality together with a quick speed. For each one of the distance, from my naked eye, I would say the distance is similar. So for the sowing, after these calculations in the autumn sowing and autumn harvest season, what is going to be the benefit? So we have also combining our sowing together with the Beidou navigation system. The trucks works straightly, runs very straightly. We save the earth and we have also saved the working efficiency. It's also going to help us with the pesticide, with the other different growing techniques, and we are also going to use these machines to help up to pick the cotton. This is where we are going to sow the seed. I think once we have a seed, it is going to goes within 1.5 centimeters, and later on the seed is going to be spurred out from this red circle. Currently, we are not going to unearth one of the seed because there's only one seed. We need to figure it out very closely, and we all know that the purple color of the seed is also going to help the farmers to identify whether the seed is being planted into the earth. This is one of the side effects. The purple color indicating that we have been using some of the pesticide and also we have dipped it. And with some of the pesticide, that is going to help the cotton bud out, which is also going to be very protective. Through the cotton growing, are there any follow-up plans for us? cotton growing industry is the major pillar industry in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. It is accounting for 87% of the cotton growing industry and textile industry in China. We are being blessed with a good natural resources and weather condition. I hope that we could play this advantage to its maximum. There are 3 directions that we are going to forge ahead. The first one is that by promoting this dry sowing, wet growing techniques, we are going to enhance the demand. The final target is that for each acres of the cottons, we are estimated to produce 180 kilograms of the cotton. This number is going to top the world. On top of that, we are also going to increase the qualities of the cottons, figure out new breed of the cottons. We are also going to monitor the cotton industry through the whole process. On the current basis, the cotton quality is going to be improved further. I have a small secret. So there is going to be a very strong cotton. I think my cotton is going to be very strong, and for the cotton industry to grow very green and sustainable, we also need to create and works on the recycling technologies. Thirdly, since the cotton is the pillar industry in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, we are going to make it better, and we are going to work on the upstream and the lower stream of the industrial chains. First, we need to breed the good species. Second, after we have planted, we are also going to work on the breeding of the cottons, the sowings, the textile, and even the final clothing industry is going to be benefited from our advantages in the cotton qualities. We are going to breed an industrial chain to make it one of the name card in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. So can you tell us the mechanizations of the cotton industry in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region? Currently, it's 95%. From the sowings to the final picking round, we have achieved a whole round cotton growing phase. Thank you very much, Mr. Yang, for your kind introduction. Through our cameras and through we have seen the sowings of the autonomous sowing machines. Xinjiang is becoming one of the clusters for the growing and also for the sowings of the cotton industry. This is a sock produced locally. It is going to be exported. I think a lot of viewers might see some of the cotton socks, but for the productions of the sock, let's look at how this pair of the socks being produced. After setting up local factories, this is a socks produced locally. No matter locally speaking, no matter from the factories, they also have some of the home-sized factories. After the factories has trained the local farmers, they can make this kind of socks at their own homes without even getting onto their door. They can earn another part of the. I don't know whether you have been wearing the same socks as I'm bringing to you. So here we are going to wrap up today's live streaming. Thank you very much.